Hello and welcome to our next tutorial on Adobe Lightroom version 4. Today we're going to take a look at an image sent in by Jason on how to bring out some color in an image. So first things first we always look at is what type of camera and the settings was used when taking the picture. So we can see that he shot it with a D7000 camera, 1/800th of a second at f5.6, ISO 100, EV value is at 0. And looking at the histogram, you can see, it was pretty well dead centered. This is where the camera was telling you probably where it should be for optimal exposure. But when you get the camera picture off the camera, you're not getting the color you remember seeing. This is very common, especially around beaches. It always comes out kind of gray. So what we're going to do, we're going to go through some simple steps to help you bring out the color of your image. I looked at the image earlier. There's some color in here that, especially on the rocks, that you don't even see, that we're going to pull out of this image as we go through these steps. So right now we're in the develop module of Adobe Lightroom. So what we're going to do, or what I would do first, is the exposure. I'm going to drop this exposure about a half a stop. So using the keypad, I'm going to hit minus 0.50, which will bring down just a little bit of that bright sky that you have when you're taking the picture. The contrast, again, it's not bad at all, so I don't know if I would have to mess too much with that, but I'm going to bump this up to about 50. And again, it's easier to use your keypad than it is to use the sliders. The next series you have are highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. The whites here I would bring up to about 20 just for the water purposes. Later on we're going to actually add some more highlights to it to really bring out the color of the water. The blacks, I do like having a little bit of a black in the image to help break it up a little bit. So this one, I would go minus 20, kind of darken up those rocks a little bit, give them a little bit of edge to them. Clarity, I would raise this to about 10 on your image. Not a lot. The image is pretty clear. You did shoot it at ISO 100, so there's not a lot of pixelation in the image. So here's where you get into the bring out color of your image. The vibrance and saturation. If we were to grab the vibrance and pull it all the way up, you're going to see now you've got nice blue water. In your rocks, you've got actually looks like some yellow seaweed that has blown up on the rock. We don't want it up to 100%, but if we drop it all the way down the other direction, we actually turn to black and white. Same thing will happen with saturation. If we pull the saturation all the way down, you've also gone back to a black and white photo. So what I would do here is, if you look in the vibrance slider, and you get up to this range right about here, is where your blues really kick in. Kind of goes from a aqua to blue. So I would pull the sliders up to here, somewhere at about 70%. So we'll hit 70. The saturation, same thing. Now saturation, we're going to go up here a little bit less. So I'm going to go 50 on this one. So now you start to see the real blue of your image. The ocean, and like I said, this is very typical in shooting around beaches, piers, stuff like this. So the color is there, you just don't see it on your out of your camera. Tone curve, I would skip over. It's not going to change this a whole lot, but right here is where I would actually add just a little bit of light to the water. So the lights, if you bring them all the way up, you see you really blow out your water, but it does give the water some depth. So I would bring this up to only about 20. on the image, bring out that water a little bit. The darks, and again, we changed it earlier, so if we pull the dark slider to the left, we'll add more contrast to the image, darken up your water a little bit. So you don't want to go too much. Typically, I would do this about the opposite direction of the lights that I had used. So I'd brighten the lights up by 20, add the darks to about -20. Leave the shadows alone. We're not going to worry about those. And then right here, you get into the saturation under the HSL settings. Look at the overall picture, and you can see over here in the rocks, there is some moss, seaweed, something's blown up on the rocks. So it actually has more of a yellow tint than it does green. So in your yellow slider here, I would pull this up about halfway to 50, which will bring out the more color of that seaweed to kind of give it that punch that says there was something on this rock. Then you have your aquas and blues. The water's not actually aqua here, so the blue is what you want to do. If we were to bring the blue up, you're really going to see now we're at you pull the color from the ocean. But again, we don't want a whole lot of blue. We don't want to make it look like it's unreal. The same way we were to pull all the way down, then you have that gray look again. So on the blue, I would bring this up somewhere around that 40% mark. We don't want it too blue. And then that's really all you'd have to do. Split toning, you wouldn't have to worry about anything in there. The last thing I would do, sharpening, is I would add a little bit of sharpening to say about 40. Radius, detail, masking, leave alone. Luminance, just in case, I would just kick this up to about 25. Would help blend out any type of pixelations if you should have any in your image. And then, the color, detail, I would leave alone. Lens correction, if you click on the lens correction, I can see what type of lens you shot this with. It's a Nikkor lens, 7300 millimeter. But, again, I wouldn't worry about that too much. The way that it was just fine. And then, the vignetting, the camera calibration, it all looks good. So that's really all you have to do to your image to bring out the colors you don't see. So if you go down here, which gives you the cycle between the before and after views, and click on it, it gives you a side-by-side comparison of the left side of the image that you saw out of your camera to the right side of the image, which was with the adjustments on it. If you click it again, you get the over-unders. I typically just like to use the one that shows half the image. But it's very simple, very easy adjustments to go through. But if you look at your histogram now, we have separated those colors. We've added blue, still kept them in the blue area in the middle. The greens is actually more along the lines of the moss. We've brightened those up so you can actually see them. Lightroom does come with a bunch of presets on the left-hand side that you had mentioned in your email that says you can't quite get the color out of it, and a lot of times you do not. They're there, for something quick and easy. But if you want to actually pull out a lot of color, they're very simple to do, and that's the way I would go through it. I mean, you can use other tools. You could come over here and use your graduated filter, but you're not going to pull out the blue in the same manner. So I hope this helps you. Now you can take your image, go step by step, just the way we did it, on how to adjust those colors, and you'll have the exact same image we have here. So thank you very much for sending us in the email and your picture. So if you have any more questions on this video or any other videos we've done in the past, or you'd like us to do a video with your image, just send us an email or drop us a comment, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can.